Hello, powerful one. Welcome to this edition of Inner Growth with Osezuah Elimihe. On this edition, we are talking about reincarnation, the great lie destroying Africa. What are we talking about? What is reincarnation? And how is that concept destroying Africa? In this video, we will look into it and give you some explanations. I am Osezuah Elimihe. You know me, I am in the game of helping you grow from inside out. That is the drill. Yes, reincarnation. Actually, by the African interpretations, and I think the way I have heard it interpreted outside in other places from other books I've read and the experiences I have encountered, it is the idea of the human spirit returning to this earth after death. In this case, this human spirit takes on a new body. And in the African tradition, a man dies, he comes back again as a man. But sometimes I have heard it also said that some people get lost in the spirit world because of the evil they have done. What this actually means probably was that these people were not deemed worthy to return to the earth as humans. Okay, so they didn't come back. Either they transmigrated to lower forms, but they never came back as human beings because they could no longer trace them. The African people had a way of marking a person, special some people anyway, and they mark them, and when they come back, they're able to recognize them. Some people are born and they have vivid memories of their past lives over time. As they start aging, as they start growing up, maybe they cross the first 6-7 years on earth, they begin to forget. Okay, I've had instances where people remembered up until they were even in their early teens. They remember clearly. There are instances like that. There are marks that our ancestors placed on people, and when they died, when they came back as new babies, they came with such marks with them. Evidences abound, and I have had a ton of materials that I have read, evidence of reincarnation across the globe. Now, how did it turn out to be that this concept, this idea of reincarnation is destroying Africa? Simple. With the coming of the Abrahamic religion to Africa, the concept of reincarnation was denied. Africans came to the conclusion that there was no reincarnation. The Christian religion particularly kicks against it. And I repeat, I have not been able to find a scripture that condemns or refutes the idea of people returning after they have died. Instead, what I hear Christians use as defense is that quote in the book of Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27. It is appointed unto men once to die, and after that judgment. A verse as innocuous, as very simple as that, denying reincarnation, is a lie. Because what that portion simply says that when a human being dies once, he faces judgment, and that's all. Okay, then what are the consequences of judgment? They say you go to hell or you go to heaven. How rank can that be? Meanwhile, if you look at the Bible very carefully, you will realize that there are more evidence pointing to the presence of reincarnation than otherwise. In Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 and 6, the prophet said, "Behold, I send you prophet Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord." Then if you come back to Luke chapter 1 verse 17, it tells us that John the Baptist came in the spirit and power of Elijah. Now, Christians are very quick to pick that up and say it says in the spirit. It doesn't mean Elijah, but in the spirit of Elijah. And I say this is where your problem comes from when you argue this way. A human being is a spirit. We are basically spirits. Therefore, if I come in the spirit of somebody, what does that mean? Are we now concluding it simply means that the Christians who argue in this light are saying that this physical body is the human being? It is a spirit that comes back and takes on this human form. Therefore, the spirit of Elijah coming back simply means that he is reincarnating. Incarnate means to take on a body, to take on a form. Come on, people. What are we defending? When we don't know anything, some things are not clear, we should ask questions. This concept of having the answer to all questions is very dumb, and it makes us dumber than dumb. I don't get it. I don't know where they are getting all these things from. If you look further in the Bible to the book of Matthew chapter 17, you will see that Jesus Christ took James, John, and Peter and took them to the mountaintop, where he gave them the experience of his inner self. People who are into spirituality, true spirituality, not these perverse more spirituality we are seeing everywhere, understood what happened. James, Peter, and John had an experience that every true disciple of the true master hoped to get, to know the master in his inner powers, in his inner glory. They got it. It was a rare opportunity. Out of all the 12 disciples, only 3 of them had the privilege to get that experience. And it was like, at that level, their physical efforts at becoming right was over. The master took over their particular assignment from then on. Even though Peter had to fail later, but it was not the end of his career. That's why it didn't end. He continued. But this is it. After they had had that experience, they were confused, because the religion of the Jews told them that before Christ, the Messiah, would come, Elias, that's Elijah, would come first. So already they have had an experience that this is the master, this is the Messiah. We've seen him, it's so clear. But why did Elijah not come first? And Christ will reply them in, I think, verse 11 to 12 there. He said, Elias had indeed come, and they have not recognized him, and they have done unto him what they pleased. And then the Bible narrative there stated that he was referring to John the Baptist. And of course, the 3 disciples knew that he was referring to John the Baptist. What is that? That is reincarnation. If you study the scriptures very well, you will realize that the last action of Prophet Elijah was the beheading. So specifically stated that he beheaded 450 prophets of Baal and Ashtaroth after the show of Mount Carmel. He beheaded them and escaped from Jezebel, because he knew Jezebel was going to kill him. And from there, he went on to experience his exit from the earth. Beheaded 450 prophets of Baal and Ashtaroth. Oh, that was a zeal for his God. How did John the Baptist die? How? He was beheaded on the instruction of the wife of Herod. It's so simple. You get it? Now, he killed the prophets of Baal and Ashtaroth, who were prophets of Jezebel, the queen, wife of the king Ahab. In his own time, at the instruction of the queen, he was also beheaded. You get it? Now, the Bible says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sow, that shall he also reap. I said it in one of my videos, that life is a game. We all play games. Now, if you check the structure of the time of Elijah and the structure of the time of John the Baptist, they were exactly the same. The arithmetic of Elijah taking back his punishment was carefully arranged. And who says that that woman, I've forgotten her name now, the wife of Herod, was not actually Jezebel again, who has refused to learn her lessons, but she also came to get her dues. She had to punish John the Baptist. And of course, she knew she couldn't do it directly the way Jezebel would have done it. What she did was to use her daughter. Okay? And the setup was just so calculated. It was so perfect. And he went for it. Somebody says, okay, 450 prophets. He cut off the head of 450 people. How come it's only one head? Did you know how many years intervened between the time of Elijah and the time of John the Baptist? Do you know how many years? Go calculate. It's over, the last prophet and the time of John the Baptist was 400 years. So do your calculation. We are talking about close to, if not 700-800 years. I hope I'm not wrong, but that's something like that. So do you know how many beheadings that this man had taken until this particular time? Another thing, because also John the Baptist met the Master Christ in the body, he had also had to have his punishment reduced. Because the thing is that the Master is the embodiment of mercy. So, like they say, if you are a disciple of the perfect Master, if a mountain were meant to fall on your head as karma, it will become a pinprick. So in this context, John the Baptist had to just take a simple beheading for the last time. Who knows? It may be the first time he was coming since that time. It may be he had come several times to have multiple beheadings. There are things, no matter how well articulated you are, that you will suffer as your karma, because there are certain karmas you have come specifically to experience and you must get them. It doesn't matter how pious you are. That's why you say, why do bad things happen to good people? You have not followed them through the dispensations of existence to know what they had committed in subsequent lives. You don't escape karma. When I discuss karma, you will understand it very much. The truth of karma negates the concept of eternal or everlasting hellfire. That is why the religions that we know today do not accept karma. But it is what runs life. The thing is that whether you believe in a law of God or not, it runs. Your belief or your unbelief will not change it. People can't escape their shadows. They can't escape the consequences of the life that they have lived. Of course, they have their argument. They said, oh, Elijah in his former time did not die. He went by the whirlwind. This is another distortion of truth. There is no way all human beings came to this world by birth through the birth canal of a woman, and everyone will go out through the death canal of the grave. Either the grave or cremation, or somehow we will all die and leave this body, because this body cannot ascend the kingdom of heaven. Like it is written, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. In other words, that's just taking it literal now, but literally simply means that you can't be attached to the flesh, to the things of the physical world, and expect to make heaven. Now, the idea of reincarnation did not get refuted by the Bible. The Bible did not kick against it. If anything, it confirmed it, that there is reincarnation. The idea of somebody dying and after death, the person faces judgment is part of it. Now, if you now go to the Kabbalah, that's the esoteric religion of the Jews, and then you add it to Judaism, you will see clearly that Judaism has a belief in reincarnation. What they call Gilgule Ha Neshamot. I may not have pronounced it properly. What does it mean? Gilgul, Gilgul, simply means cycle or wheel. No, cycle, C-Y-C-L-E, or W-H-E-E-L, wheel. You know, the wheel is also a cycle, the wheel, you know, talking about movement, right? Then Neshamot is a Hebrew word for souls. So the cycle of souls, Gigule Neshamot, that's the plural form now. The cycles of souls is talking about the going and coming. There's another word for it in the Sanskrit, which they call it Awagawan. Awagawan simply means the going and coming. Souls go and come. It is a secular world. People die, people come back. There are certain things that dictate the kind of burden that the human soul will take when it comes back into the physical form, and will be, one, the role that soul is coming to play. A man could come as a woman. A woman could come as a man. A man can still come back as a man. It has to do with the function, the role that spirit has come to play in this present dispensation. The second reason responsible for the kind of body the soul comes with also has to do with the level of spiritual advancement or otherwise of the soul in its last incarnation. Our people say that when people come to this world, they come with what they call a paso. We call it oko. Afanokoa. That's you When you get to this world, you start opening your parcel. That is talking about the experiences, the kinds of things that you have come to do, the experiences you have come to have is loaded in them. And what is responsible for your current experiences are your deeds in previous lives, not just one life, not just necessarily the last one, but the previous ones. Okay, it's about payment, it's about coming to pay. Now, this physical form that we are carrying is karmically determined. By karma, we're talking about your work. People think that karma has to do with a divine or some spiritual conditioning that says that God has given you a particular role to play on this earth. No, your role is determined by your past actions. You are the one that determines your destiny. In talking about karma, we have learned in the spiritual schools that 75% of a person's experiences in this world is determined by the person's karma, while 25% is where you have the free will to change those experiences. You get it? So there's a free will. That 25% is very powerful. If you hold on to that 25% and exercise your free will using willpower and then some spiritual assistance through meditation and all kinds of selfless activities and selfless service, what you call them, you can actually neutralize a lot of your karma, because all those actions of selfless service will elevate you beyond the normal kern of the world, and then you become a better person. And when you hit that level, the negative impact of your karmas will no longer affect you. It is a process. But somebody will say, okay, how do you come across such knowledge that will help you rise beyond the physical karma? That has to do with your karma again, because some aspect of grace also plays a role. You get it? Karma is not just a human experience. It is both human, spirits, even the gods, the angels, all of them, they all experience karma. Karma is the basis of spiritual advancement or otherwise in this lower universe. It is the teacher. When you hear about the law, talking about the law and all of these things that the beloved Apostle Paul was talking about, he's talking about karma. It's just that the word is Sanskrit, it's not Hebrew. Therefore, I don't know what word exactly it is that they use for it in Hebrew. Maybe if you ask your pastor, they will tell you what the exact Hebrew word for works. Because it says, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Now, talking about a soul dying once and after that judgment, and the Christians are saying that simply a man has to die once. What will they say of Apostle Paul, who said, I die daily? Is it not in a law that states that a man must die once and after that judgment? Dying daily was an experience of Paul. What does it mean? Now, do Christians even ever try to find out the esoteric connotations of words in the Bible? Death is an experience you have when you leave this physical body. And Paul was saying, I leave my physical body every single day. How? We will talk about that in another video. I will put details. I will go into the details of that, talking about the silver cord and the rest of them. But for now, let us now go into how the concept of reincarnation is destroying Africa. The concept of reincarnation, as the present Africans have accepted it, is very negative. They have denied it. And by denying reincarnation, they have denied the major role that funeral activities play in the life of a departed soul. There is something they call Ehi in my place. They must have a meaning for it in other place. Ehi in my place simply means destiny. Okay? It is called destiny, Ehi. Now, an Ehi can be good or it can be bad. Right? Now, when Ehi is bad, it has another meaning, which is called Ese. Ese simply means bad karma, negative karma. You get it? So they talked about Ese Swaria. That is, Ese is pushing the person. All right? Simply means that your bad karma is pushing you to a common path to receive the consequence of your deed. When Ese is pushing somebody, the person does not have control. He just does things thinking that he's being smart or whatever. But at the end of the day, the consequences happen and the eyes are cleared. But that's it. Why did you do it? I don't know. It's just yelling. If you look at it, you can call it misadventure. But these things are esoteric. They are just deep. You can't explain them. A person who is supposed to be smart behaves foolishly and suffers the consequences, and then it's all over. It is paying the debt of the previous life. All right. But karma is not just about the previous life. You can also suffer for karma right now. Now, I will do a video again on karma also, so that I don't belabor this particular thing. When a person is dead in Africa, in my place, the way I know it, when they are burying that person, during the burial process, there's what they call ihi. Okay? It is about, say, ahi noria. That is, you are affirming a future life for somebody. If the person, for example, were weak in this lifetime, you start speaking by the graveside good things to the persons, reversing the current fortune and making it better in the next life. A lot of people are gathered by the graveside. They are crying. They are emotionally charged, and they are speaking positives into the life of the person. There's nothing negative at that time. If the person was poor, they start wishing for that person to become rich in the next life. They are not saying, may you become rich. No, that's not how they say. They are very definite. It's a declaration. You will be rich in your next life, my father or my mother or my uncle or my brother or my sister. You will be strong in your next time. You will be courageous. You will be bold. You will be fearless. You will be hardworking. You will be rich. These are the things they say in a very charged atmosphere. People are crying and they are saying, they are pumping things into this person's soul. Now, the understanding is that that person is still around, but it's not in that body anymore, but he's going away. They are seeing the person off. Now, when they say these things, what they are actually doing, two things are being done here. One, the person is being encouraged to cross over, not to be afraid, not to be scared. They are pouring love on that person. That is why in Africa, we don't speak evil of the dead, not because it is a cowardly thing. It is a reparatory thing. You are correcting the person, letting the person know that, hey, brother, sister, we don't hate you. We've forgiven you. All the things you did against us were when you were alive. You have crossed over now. Go in peace. Because if you don't forgive them, they can't go. They are heavy. Because all the evil they have done, they are feeling it. When a person that you did evil to is wishing you well, speaking well of you, you become lighter. So you can actually soar and go over to the other side. That is the purpose of the ihi nahinoria that we do for people. And then the other one is to change the person's mindset, because at this time, the person is free, and then you are now giving the person ingredients to furnish the person's next life. That thing is part of the data, the programs that are written into the person's mind in the next life. You get it? That's how it comes. So what you're actually doing is that you are building a future society, because this person is going to come back to your midst again as a human being, as a better person. So such a person will contribute positively to society when the person comes. Imagine you did that to 10,000 people, 100 people, 500 people. When they are coming back, they come back better. It is an opportunity. Death is an opportunity in Africa to reform the dead, to reform the person, to recalibrate the meta content of that person. But now, religion came, strange religion came and said there is no such thing as reincarnation. Therefore, this idea of a person dying and you start wishing good things to that person has to be stopped, because it is negative, it is barbaric, it is satanic. How? People stopped it. Now, if you checked what is happening right now in Africa, especially in Nigeria, let me speak about Nigeria. You have young men and women who don't have love for their country, because these people are dying and people are not wishing them well. They are not pouring those kind of love to them. What you do is to carry a musician and start dancing. They see you dancing, having fun at their expense. The actual ritual that you should perform to sweeten their exit and bless them and load them with positivity that will help them in their nice life, you didn't do it. A lot of them find it difficult to cross over. And when they eventually cross over and they are reborn to this place, they don't have any attachment to this place. They don't have that kind of love. So when you see a young child who doesn't care about your country, doesn't care about your community, he doesn't care about your way of life, and at the slightest opportunity, he will leave your country. He doesn't care about you. This is where the love for Africa finds its attenuation and total reduction, because the rights that we should have done to these people, we didn't do them. And then the second one is that you also have people who are so wayward, people who have no depth, no spiritual or moral depth in them, because you didn't prepare them So you think they will die and go and be born in another world? They will not. They will come back to the same place because you have created the monster and the monster is going to live with you. Our ancestors hardly did anything that didn't have a serious implication. It has serious implications. So the idea of wishing well for that person is key. See, society, community has a massive input into the mental content of any human being. And it is our duty to build our society the way we have to. We use every opportunity to do it. And the greatest and the strongest opportunity is at the point of death. When we stay by the graveside and speak positive things to the soul of that person, we reform the people. And when they are born, they come back. We also have the second opportunity again from when they are in the womb to when they hit age 7. We have the opportunity to also load them with positivity. But what we are doing right now, we have a negative lifestyle. We have a lot of hypocritical approach to life. We live half life, half death. And then we give birth to children and in the family who did not get wished well when they were crossing over. They come back to our midst and they meet us living a life of hypocrisy. They are totally messed up. We send them to schools out there. The educational system is also very porous. They are teaching things that hardly contribute to the development of the human mind. So the whole thing is worsened. So who are they actually? We don't know. So this is how the concept of reincarnation denied has created a major problem for the African society. Every society has approach to their dead, and we are not doing it. It is not for the good of our society. I've heard some people say that the Hebrew culture does not believe in reincarnation, so the Jews don't believe in reincarnation. How come they expected Elijah to come back? Let's even leave that. We have come to realize that this concept of reincarnation, which is the cycle or the wheel of the soul, is an esoteric hidden belief in the Hebrew faith. As my doctor friend who is an expert in Kabbalah who believe in reincarnation, this Gigule Ha Neshamot or Gigul Neshamot, or is one of the things contained in the Arcanum Arcanorum, that is mystery of mysteries. It is not revealed to everybody. So a lot of these things are hidden. I was talking about the esoteric and the culting of knowledge in my other video, and here it is. They keep these things from people that people will not know about it. And now, in order to, because if you believe in reincarnation, if people accept reincarnation, one, it will better their lives because they will know that they have the possibility of paying back for whatever evil has been done to them. One way or the other, people will pay it. You know, payment is made, it's guaranteed. In the same way, that same thing also gives relief. The idea of a very, very angry God that puts his people in perpetual hellfire will be destroyed. But because they want to perpetuate that doctrine of an eternal hell, I don't know what it means for somebody to be in an eternal hell. Because eternity is endless. Eternity is a person. We know that eternity is God himself. So you are going to be with God in hell. Is that what it means? Oh, they say it's an everlasting fire. They just keep burning over, and what kind of God is that? They have brought a God that is very, 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 what's the word? Lend me a word for it. No human being is that wicked. No human being. Even the parable that Jesus Christ gave to us about the prodigal son showed that we have a God that is not perpetually angry. In fact, it's only in the Bible we hear about God being angry. It's crazy. And all of these beliefs are beliefs that are meant to seal people in ignorance and put them in a state of perpetual fear. I think we have entered the age of knowledge. Nobody is excused to be ignorant. The truth is out there. You can do your research now. Google is at your fingertip. Go and Google, search information, and know things that normally wouldn't have been available to you before now. If anybody complains of ignorance, of I don't know it in this age, I think that person will not be held guiltless. It is time for you to take on the battle of saving your soul now from lies. And the greatest of all these lies are false knowledge, which a lot of these religion and religious people are peddling all over the place. They are making you believe that the ignorance that they have is actually the truth. When ignorance is elevated to the level of truth, disaster is with the people. I'm interested in you being free from lies. That's my interest. I hope I've spoken right for you. Thank you.